Next, I've opened up the next one, cold and heat related emergencies. This one is not sequentially enforced. Again, you have your PowerPoint for both of them. This again is based off of edition 6 of your textbook. So again, if you have edition 7, you're having a hard time finding answers. Again, here I provide the heat and cold notes. Here I found some interesting things that I find to be quite useful. I do a lot of things outdoors in the winter and in the summer. This one talks about frostbite. You can read those. That's not super interesting. This down here is what I find really interesting: heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Tells you the difference between them. Interesting story. This summer, I was at a baseball game for my son, plays American Legion baseball, and it was smoking hot. They were playing on a turf field, and I was watching the game, and all of a sudden I noticed that one umpire didn't come back out. The home plate umpire didn't come back out. And the base umpire called balls and strikes from behind the pitcher's mound and called the base. And I was like, oh, I saw him go into our dugout, but I don't know what happened to him. So I walked over and looked over into the dugout and saw this poor umpire slumped over. He was sweating profusely. He could barely hold his eyes open. He was complaining of headache, nausea. He was in really bad shape. So what I did was I immediately started taking his shoes and socks off, started loosening up his shirt, tried to get his chest protector off and his shin protectors off, try to start cooling this guy down. We got bags of ice, placed him on the back of his neck, in his armpits, and in his groin, which are areas of major blood flow. That way it would disperse the cooler blood. This poor guy continued on in this manner for another 5 minutes, and I said, then that's enough. It's time to call EMS. So we dialed 911, held up the ball game, got EMS there, and he had barely recovered, even just a tiny bit by the time EMS got there. He was in severe need of an IV. And he was, I would have diagnosed him as in late stages of heat exhaustion, headed for heat stroke. And heat stroke is a kill you thing. Heat exhaustion is one step away from heat stroke, which is very deadly. So just it was a bad deal. I assume he came back all right later, because I haven't heard from him or didn't see him or heard from anybody else. So I also didn't see his obituary in the paper, so I assume he's okay. Next is NWS National Weather Service wind chill chart. It tells you what the temperature is, and then what the wind is, and then so let's say the wind is 15 miles an hour and the temperature is 25 degrees. That gives you a real feel or of 13 degrees. So you can see how the wind really affects the temperature. You can see down here, frostbite times start getting in here within 30 minutes. With exposed skin, you can get frostbite. Within 10 minutes, you can get frostbite in here. And within 5 minutes, you can get frostbite here with exposed skin. It's just interesting to know how quickly you can get frostbite if you have exposed skin. Like me, I have a lot of exposed skin. I wear a stock cap most of the winter. Next right here is NOAA's National Oceanic Atmospheric Association's National Weather Service Heat Index. This gives relative humidity on this side and gives temperature along the top. Let's say it's a typical August day here in southeast Oklahoma. And let's say it's 98 degrees. Well, let's go 96 degrees. Let's say it's a cool day in August. 96 degrees, and the humidity is at a 75%. So we truck right on over. Did I get off? It's in the extreme danger zone. So it 75% humidity at 96 degrees. According to this chart, it's supposed to feel like 132 degrees, which is extreme danger. We've kind of grown used to this here in our area, but I just wanted to impress upon you how hot it can get. This one right here, this is what we use with our athletes. It's what the high school here in Poto uses with their athletes. What I've noticed is by the urinals in the locker room of the football field house, this is posted in by every urinal. So am I hydrated? This is just a rough thing that you can look at. If your urine matches this color, 1, 2, or 3, you're hydrated, but you need to continue to consume fluids at the recommended amounts. Thirst is not a good indicator of dehydration. If you're in the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, if you're under that red line, you're dehydrated and at risk for cramping and or heat illness. You need to drink more water. What I tell our sports medicine kids here, I shouldn't say kids, our sports medicine students here at Carl Albert, is that if your urine, when you go pee, is the color of lemonade, you're in good hydration, keep it up. If your urine is the color of Mountain Dew, you need to hydrate, you're at risk for heat illness. If it's the color of apple juice, you're dehydrated and you may want to see your doctor for IV. So you can monitor your urine color for the amount of dehydration. Now, of course, this is just a rough thing. Some medications will change the color of your urine. I'm not going to go into that. Then we have a heat index wind chill quiz. Cold weather safety. Now, you'll want to watch at least this one because the next one is based upon cold weather safety dressing video quiz. So you want to watch the quiz before you try to take this. It will help a lot. Heat illness prevention video. And then a heat illness prevention video quiz. So you'll want to watch the video before you try to do the quiz. And then you have the cold and heat related emergencies exam. Again, this is based off of version or edition 6. If you're working out of edition 7, you might want to consult the class notes that are provided. So let's go back to start working. That is the last thing that will be due for this semester. I have opened up Wilderness First Aid and Rescuing Moving Victims. And all it has is the PowerPoint, the class notes, Rescuing Moving Victims PowerPoint, and Rescuing Moving Victims class notes. There's no work to be done here. The reason why I place these in here for you to look at is because if you elect not to turn in a CPR card for your final examination, you will have to do a final examination. And Wilderness First Aid and Disaster Preparedness are both going to be on that final exam. So I wanted you to have at least the PowerPoints. Disaster Preparedness first. Disaster Preparedness PowerPoint, and then the class notes for disaster preparedness. Again, no assignments here. I just simply wanted you to be able to have access to that for your information in case you have to do the final examination, which is going to be 100 questions covering all of the quizzes that we have done prior to the learning modules 1 through 13. You can bypass taking that final examination by doing the CPR card's alternate final exam. If you have a CPR card, even if it's a little bit expired, submit it, we'll count it. That's your final exam, you're done. If you elect not to become CPR certified or don't have a previous card, you can, if you elect not to do that, then you'll have to take the final examination during finals week. And again, that's 100 questions. So get those CPR cards in, that way you don't have to do that examination. Please mind the due dates. I think we take you right up to the 4th, I believe. But I opened up these 2 things. These are the last 2 things that we have anything to do in. And then Wilderness First Aid and Disaster Preparedness, or FYI for your information, nothing to do in these. Anyway, I enjoyed having you in class. Hope you've learned something, and I hope that I've been able to teach you something. If you have any questions, please let me know.